Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here, and in this video I want to cover the places that I use for leveling up different types of weapons with regards to both the Deepsight resonance attunement process like this, and then also your crafted weapons that you are trying to basically unlock all the perks. You may not jump into those enhanced perks for a little while if you're farming alloy, but you do want all of the normal perks unlocked so you can kind of mess around with your builds. And there's different weapons that are going to have easier basically leveling. Like a rocket is going to be a lot easier to level up in a different place than, say, a pulse rifle and a bow. So my goal is to cover the places I use for leveling up weapons, and then just some general tips when it comes to leveling and attuning these deep sight weapons and our craftable weapons, so you can have a bit more of an enjoyable process during all of this weapon crafting that we've presented with in Witch Queen. So here we go. So the first thing to know, generally, I would say the attunement process to go from 0 to 100% is typically about 100 kills, just of enemies. If you're doing this for a crafted weapon, to take this one from like level 14 to 15, it's going to be about 200 kills, approximately. Not always, and again, certain things can change that up between explosions and other things, but generally, I feel it's about 2 to 1 here and 1 to 1 here for enemy kills. But the one thing to know is activity progress does make a difference. If you go into, say, a Nightfall, and you crank it up to, like, Hero, that's like 50% of a weapon of just, like, attunement progress. It's probably, like, 25% a here just to finish it, and you're going to get some done get some enemies killed while you go through. Heavy weapons, on the other hand, those are going to be a little bit slower. You don't have that many enemies you always get to kill. You've got less ammo typically to use, and you also may not be able to, get a grenade launcher up to an airborne enemy, or, kill an enemy with like 100 bullets from a machine gun. So the point of this is to explain there is some benefit to just taking these weapons into specific activities. Nightfalls, Vanguards, Crucible, Gambit, whatever you're going to do. Wellspring, honestly, is one of the places I have been doing a lot of this because I'm farming for those specific weapons that drop. Like today is Father Sins. I'm still looking for 2 more of those that drop with the Deepsight resonance so I can actually earn the pattern or unlock the pattern for Father Sins. I've done the other 3 from here. This is my last one. Also, once you do your exotic glaive the first time, you'll unlock the ability to possibly, and it is a very, very small chance, have the pattern drop for the other 2 classes. So you will eventually be able to get those. Maybe you're working on weekly missions, trying to get that Ascendant Alloy. Not a bad place to do it. Biggest thing to pay attention is maybe you're doing lost sectors, but that's probably something you want to be a little more optimized for, depending on the level that you're going against. All those places like that are great for a lot of your primaries. Generally, those are going to be some of the best things to use because you're going to use them all the time. You're going to hit stuff at range. Something like a bow, you're going to be hitting one target at a time. It's not great at killing groups. On the other side, you might have something like a fusion rifle. You might have something like a rocket launcher, a machine gun, a grenade launcher. All of those things have a bit more group killing in mind. Glaives, in theory, there's not a ton of these, and you don't really have to rush the exotic glaives because the perks kind of get unlocked quickly, and there's no real benefit to getting this thing up to 16 since it's exotic, so that's not a big deal. Your normal glaive, you can probably do in the same place, I'm telling you, for the bigger groups. But like primaries, if I'm going to go just mess around and attune these like next 14%, I'll just literally take this into, my next Battlegrounds or my next Wellspring or somewhere and just shoot like 14 enemies and be good to go. But leveling this thing up, like this one's 36. I've just been using it. I use this a lot in the raid. It's just a weapon that I enjoy using. The primaries, especially something like a bow, very terrible at killing groups. So taking into activities, focus on the kills, and then the activity progress, like the activity completion progress, paired with the enemies that you kill with your, primary weapon that you're using most of the time, is going to be what gets you through these. Probably in just about as fast as most things that you do, because the activity progress on primaries is going to be a good chunk compared to trying to sit there and kill single enemies with a bow that is just going to be really, really boring. On the other side, though, you have stuff like rocket launchers, when I said they do well in groups. And honestly, it's like people have different opinions on where the best place to do this is. Some people are going to be like, hey, go into Grasp of Avarice. Go into the opening section. You have an infinite supply of enemies that come out of the loot cave, and you can sit there and fire at them all the time. While I don't not agree with that. There's a lot of enemies that come out of there. Some are acolytes. Some are going to be thralls. Some are going to be wizards. Some will hide. Some will basically do those things. And that might not be a bad thing if you just want to sit there and plink away for a little while with your primary. But honestly, you're better off going into a Nightfall, plink away, finish the activity, and get the extra progress. So Grasp of Avarice is fine if you just want a break Also, if you just want to sit there and, you know, blow some enemies up. But to me, my main suggestion, especially for the heavies, again, I've kind of been covering primaries, literally do them kind of anywhere. But again, like, what I'm trying to do lately is I'm trying to get all the weapons from Wellspring, so I'll kind of bounce between Wellspring. And I'm also trying to get the weapon patterns, trying to get some of these from Psyops Battlegrounds. So I literally bounce back and forth. If I'm working on a primary, if I'm working on, say, like this, and this one, for example, and then maybe I'm trying to level this one up too, then sure, yeah, I'll leave that on if I'm doing random activities. But if I just want to burn through levels and unlock a better version of that heavy weapon, I'll show you the place to do that in the end, so stay tuned. But as we're working through this psychogenic intel, we have 2,000 max, and you can get like 500 from doing like one strike. The idea about the hide in the psychogenic intel, every time you open the chest, at the runic chest in the Psyops Battlegrounds, you're going to be getting some of this, the Risen Umbral energy. And this is what you're going to use to focus engrams at the war table. You're going to be using this to potentially turn those Umbral engrams into, you know, seasonal gear. And I'm actually going to do a separate video specifically on, like, probably the fact that I think some people are spending their Risen Umbral energy incorrectly. So stay tuned for that one. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. That video will probably be coming tomorrow. But the idea is I'm trying to do a Wellspring to cap off my intel, and then I'm going to go and do a Psyops Battlegrounds to spend that intel. Maybe I'll do a second one, so I'll spend like, you know, like 800. I'll spend 1,000 of the intel, but while you do the Battleground, you get like 40 here, 40 there. So you might end up with like 1150, and then turn around, go do a couple Wellsprings if I need something from there, and that way, 2 of those later, I've probably maxed out my intel again, and I go back into Psyops Battlegrounds. That way I'm not doing the same playlist over and over and over. Same thing, if you're trying to farm alloy, come in here, it's match made on hero, do a mission or two, and see if you get some of that alloy so you can eventually work on having that for some of those enhanced perks. So rotate your playlist, but when you are maxed out, unless you just have every single pattern for all of these Risen weapons, like Sweet Sorrow, Under Your Skin, Peace of Mind, we've got, actually not one there. You got the Explosive Personality, you've got the Thoughtless Sniper Rifle, you've got the Recurrent Impact. Like, there's quite a few weapons to get from Season of the Risen, and I like a lot of them, so I suggest actually going after those. So that is why I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. Do a little Battlegrounds, do a couple other things to refill the energy, do a couple Battlegrounds to spend that energy, go do a couple other things. You need to do some Crucible matches, go have a little fun. Something like Team Scorched, literally just equip the weapon, go do Team Scorch, and you're probably going to end up with a decent chunk of this thing done. So seriously, like, there's a lot of ways to level up your primaries, but one to not forget is going to Last Wish and getting the Shuro Chi checkpoint. Shuro Chi, which I probably mispronounce every time. If you don't know what that is, there's probably videos. Just literally look up Shuro Chi and Wish Wall. I'll put the words on the screen. SHURO-CHI, Wish Wall. You literally start the raid. You kind of just basically skip starting the first encounter, kind of jump up to the Wish Wall. And if you guys want to see a video of how to get there, comment below, but I'm pretty sure there's a ton of them out there. And you're going to go to this checkpoint. What this is basically the start of a raid encounter, and you have these like massive groups of Taken Thrall. They're little bitty enemies, and there's like 25 of them at a time, and they come in clumps. This is where I recommend that you do anything that explodes. Grenade launcher. Now this one I got good perks on, so field prep and chain reaction is not where it started. But again, red herring grenade launcher, Palmyra D rocket launcher. This one you can get explosive light. You can get auto loading holster, a very good rocket launcher for the raid. You can craft. So as soon as you get the frame, you can make your god roll rocket launcher. Shout out to the fact that Banshee is selling one right now, but still. So I mean, this is a good place to spend a little bit of time for anything that explodes. And the way you're going to want to do it is you're going to want to go in there with 2 weapons that are primary ammo. So that way, any brick that drops is going to be heavy. And honestly, just make sure you got rocket launcher reserve, so you always are holding as many as possible. Make sure you got an ammo finder on. Make sure you got a scavenger on for whatever heavy you're working on. Be it grenade, machine gun. Machine gun works in here too, because you can just mow down all the little thrall. Linear is probably not very optimal in here, so I'll be completely honest with that one. But again, grenade launcher, rocket launcher, machine gun, all of these work in here. And again, say I've got a Typhoon that you need to do the Deepsight resonance on. Walk your little grenade launcher into this area, And pretty much if you're like, oh, I'm out of ammo, well, let me just shoot some of the random enemies with these other weapons. Maybe I've got a Deepsight Resonance one here that I can work on. And then you're getting 2 birds with stone, leveling this thing up and finishing your Deepsight Resonance, or this one. And the fact that you've got all the mods on, you're going to see more heavy bricks. You're never really going to need to spend a rally flag. And then if you do need to die quickly, just shoot a rocket at your feet, blow up, and start it over. And there's anywhere between like 65 and 80 enemies, depending on how they die and how they spawn. So, I mean, if you're looking to finish a weapon here, you could. But again, I recommend the primaries. It's a little boring to do it in there. You could do it, but I just don't recommend primaries in there. Fusions, those can definitely get taken care of very quickly in there. So if you then want to do a primary, a special, you will get a little more variety in the ammo bricks. It won't totally specialize the heavy. But then you just do a rotation. Be like, okay, let me dump all my ammo in my fusion rifle. Hey, looks like I got a couple of heavy bricks. Next time I, respawn, let me start the first couple of clumps with heavy. And that's like some of the easiest group kills that you're going to get. And then, kill a couple of the knights with those, farm a little bit of ammo, and then rinse and repeat. It's just a collection of about 80 enemies that I cannot tell you is like, it is so easy to clear, it's not funny. So that is why I use the Shuro Chi checkpoint for that. And all you got to do is once on one character. If you need to level up a weapon on any character, just move it to that character that has a checkpoint. Spend the time on there, no big deal. So, but the ammo finder, the scavenger, and the reserves, you will see enough bricks. And if you do double primary, only bricks you'll see is heavy. You're not really going to run out of heavy. If you try and wait a second, let them group up, get a good smash, and kill like 10, 15 guys at the same time. There's a reason all my heavies are now over level 20, and I've unlocked basically all the perks. It's because I've used some of these just naturally, but a lot of the leveling was done in there just so I could blow through the leveling on a heavy weapon and have the good perks. Because using a heavy weapon that doesn't have great perks, that's a little slow. Primaries are primaries. Yeah, you may not love it, but eventually you'll get up there. But something like this, actually decent perks on it, but use that as an alternative, or take this into a Battlegrounds. Take this into literally anywhere that you want and use it wherever. It's like you need to do some strikes. Take an attunement weapon in there. You got a heavy that you want to attune for Deepsight Resonance. Take that thing into the Dreaming City checkpoint. Okay, you're like, I want to go farm the, Father's Sins. Okay, well, let's spend a little time in Father's Sins. Check and see. I've got psychogenic intel maxed out. Okay, go run a couple Battlegrounds. Spin that intel. See if you get any of those season weapons. Maybe you get one that has a, Deepsight Resonance on it. So now you can work towards that blueprint. Spend enough of that, maybe you're out of energy, a little bit less. Go back to Wellspring, go back to the missions. That's kind of the rotation that you're going to want to work on, trying to get these crafted blueprints done and leveled up. And the biggest thing about any crafted weapon, make sure you lock it. You never want to lose that weapon. So anytime, if you ever go modify perks on it, make sure as soon as you get that weapon out of the reshaping, lock it. Make sure it is locked so you can't delete it. It's an important piece. Make sure you don't delete those things, because you don't get any, like this thing, I probably will never change it, so I may as well just lock it in. So once I've got the perks on there that I like, make sure you lock them and save them. But that is just the general tips I was trying to put out for you guys for Deepsight Resonance, progress. You can do it very quickly on heavy weapons in that last wish checkpoint. Try and make the most of your time with regards to Savathun's Throne World and the, Psyops Battlegrounds, and bounce between the different activities. Use up the intel in here. Go get some more with the, with whatever you're doing in here. Maybe you just need to do some basic activities. Throw on a weapon that you need to get Deepsight Resonance. A strike's not going to kill you. So finish up your attunement progress while you're doing a strike. Bam, 2 birds with 1 stone. Basically, my goal in this one is try and be efficient with your time, because I know some of you guys will have a lot of time to farm, some of you have very little. So hopefully this helps you out. If you did enjoy this video, drop a like below, leave a comment if you've got questions. If you don't know about the Wish Wall and you are very curious about it, you do own Forsaken, but you've never been in the raid, I can do a video over that since I've done one a while ago. But if you haven't seen that video, there's probably a lot of them. If there's enough requests, I may make a video for that. But thank you guys very much. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's Ebontis, twitch.tv, it's Ebontis, right here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. My YouTube channel members and also my Patreon subscribers, you guys, thank you extra much. All of you are amazing, though. Thank you. Have a good one.